Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today, man, we got a pretty fun show for you guys. I'm sure it's going to get a lot of people talking, but it's something that I definitely want to touch on. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, as y'all know, the Golden State Warriors officially advanced to round two after beating the Sacramento Kings in a 7-game series that was very entertaining. And as y'all know, en route to getting to the second round, Stephen Curry had arguably the most impressive Game 7 performance that probably I've ever seen, with a 50-piece. And if you saw that game, and you saw Stephen Curry in his bag, it was like when the moment got, like when the pressure was at the highest, it was at that moment you could see Stephen Curry. It was almost like as if he was levitating off the court. He was just entering into a different plane altogether. And after a while, you forgot that you were watching a Game 7. Like this guy, it got to a point where it looked like he was in an all-star game. He was just, it was almost as if he was besides himself. It was incredible. It was incredible. Stephen Curry, at no point in his NBA career has he been my favorite player, but I always respected his game. But what I've been seeing Stephen Curry do over the last few years, I think it has been absolutely special. In the second half of his career, in my personal view, the player that he is, I believe he's better than the player he was in the first half of his prime. This Stephen Curry, in my honest opinion, is unlike anything I've ever seen. He is reaching literally a new level, like a whole new level of player. Funny enough, going into the playoffs, y'all know my favorite player is Kawhi Leonard. He's injured. But I said in one of the shows that I believe the two most dangerous players in the Western Conference were Kawhi and Stephen Curry. And obviously Kawhi got injured, so we can't really say much about him. But I said Stephen Curry. I watched some games that the Clippers played against the Golden State Warriors, and this guy is an absolute nightmare to guard. He's an absolute nightmare, and the way he's able to literally make defenses shift from one side of the floor to the other is really unlike any player I think we've probably ever seen. Stephen Curry, I think, is a very special player. So what happened? After watching that game, I put up a post on our community section yesterday. Now, obviously, this depends on when you guys see it. And this post generated so much engagement. I think in 13 hours, I'm seeing, 553 likes, but 631 comments. So what I want to do is I want to read a little bit of this community post that I put up, because is really what prompted us to produce this show today. So let me read what I wrote yesterday. I wrote, if Stephen Curry gets 5, we're going to have a serious conversation about Steph, LeBron, Kobe, Magic, and Duncan. I may have to move him to number 4 all time. My top 5 might be MJ, Kareem, Kobe, Steph, and LeBron. Y'all better not let this man get 5, because if he does, everyone's top 5 needs to change, because he is just as impressive as everyone I listed, minus Jordan. Now, I know some LeBron fans will be like, it's crazy to say Stephen Curry is a better basketball player than LeBron. If we remove accolades, I believe in LeBron's prime, he was a better basketball player. But this is a different version of Steph than when LeBron was in his prime. This is some next level stuff, and we cannot ignore that. If we remove accolades, I believe Kobe was a better ball player than LeBron, because he was like the best two-way player in the NBA for like 8 to 9 straight seasons. If Steph ain't top 5, he will be top 6 at worst. If he gets 5, the conversation should be Kobe, LeBron, Duncan, Magic, and the rest. And he would have gotten 5 in LeBron's era. That will be a dent in the GOAT argument because you can't say you are the GOAT and someone else won more in your era. Duncan and Kobe won 5 in the same era, so it makes sense to rank them closer. Now, I know some will say Steph only has 1 final MVP to LeBron's 4, but Steph never collapsed in the finals either. Let's keep it all the way real. Kobe has 2 finals MVPs, but he was losing out to a prime Shaq. Nobody in the top 5 was winning finals MVPs over a prime Shaq. I don't care who you name. Curry will also have a winning record in the finals, just like Duncan, Kobe, and MJ. That also matters. The debate will be close, and we have to be real. These were the comments I posted on the community section. And those comments have generated over that post has generated over 600 comments. And I'm sure more people are going to comment on it. So I sat back today and I started to think about it. And I started to do a quick comparison of both of these guys' career. And the reason why I'm comparing Steph and LeBron is because they played within the same era. And they've also faced each other in the finals, right? I think Steph maybe 3-1. No. Yeah, Steph won 2 with KD, 1 without KD. So Steph is 3-1 in the finals against LeBron James. So there's a real rivalry there. So I started looking at their careers and their accomplishments. Now, if you look at LeBron, you see, this is the reason why we got to think about it, because the knee-jerk reaction will be like, well, LeBron is just better. He's just better. I mean, it's not even up for discussion. LeBron is a 4-time champion, 4-time finals MVP, 2-time regular season MVP player, 19-time All-Star, 3-time All-Star game MVP. He's been on 13 plus 3, that's 16 plus 2. He's been on 18 All-NBA teams. That's incredible. So basically, for over 90% of his career, he's made All-NBA teams. He's made 5 All-First defensive teams. He's made a second defensive team, so he's made 6 All-Defensive teams. He was the Rookie of the Year in 2004, and he led the league in scoring back in, 2008, and he led the league in assists in 2020. And also he was part of the 3-1 comeback against Stephen Curry's Golden State Warriors. So those are LeBron's accolades. Let's look at Stephen Curry, because I think it's very impressive. He's a 4-time champ like LeBron. He has 1 finals MVP, which he got last year. He's a 2-time regular season MVP. I think LeBron has 4, so LeBron has more there. He's a 9-time All-Star. LeBron has that, obviously. All-Star game MVP, he has that as well. NBA Western Conference Finals MVP. Okay, that's another one. But anyway, he's made 4, 3, 8 All-NBA teams. He's led the league in scoring twice. He's won the 3-point shooting contest twice. He's led the league in steals, which is incredible. And he also had a 50, 40, 90 season in 2016. And I think 2016 may have been his most impressive year, because that year he shot 50, 40, 90 from the field. He led the league in steals, and he led the league in scoring that year. And I think he won the only unanimous MVP. Now, LeBron has his own strengths. Obviously, he's a bigger player, better rebounder, etc., better defender. But Stephen Curry also has his own attributes, which are he's the greatest shooter in the history of basketball, period. He's the more efficient player than LeBron. This is not even up for discussion. Now, I want to quickly weed out the casuals. Because they'll look at Stephen Curry. LeBron has a higher overall scoring average, so therefore LeBron is the more efficient player. That's not exactly true. Okay, yes, he does have a higher overall scoring average than Stephen Curry, but you got to look at where Stephen Curry is shooting from and where LeBron is shooting from. The biggest reason LeBron shoots such a high field goal percentage is because predominantly most of his shots are coming very, very close to the basket, and he's shooting for a career, which is still incredibly impressive. He's shooting 50% from the field. If you look at Stephen Curry, think about this, as predominantly a shooter. We're also factoring in the fact that he shoots threes. He's shooting 47.5%. That's unheard of. That's ungodly. If you think about all the shots, now we can go to the advanced analytics to show you from various distances, but I think Stephen Curry is the more efficient player. I don't really think this is up for discussion, really. Stephen Curry for his career is almost a 43% 3-point shooter. For his career, I think Stephen Curry, let me see this. I don't want to believe this is true. Stephen Curry holds the highest free throw shooting percentage, an NBA record, from the free throw line of 90.9. That is his career average from the free throw line. Career. This is ungodly stuff we're talking about here. And then obviously you factor in the rebounds. Now, obviously LeBron has more rebounds, averages more assists because of the nature of his game. I think averages as many steals. No, they average about the same in terms of steals, 1.5 to Stephen Curry's 1.6. So Stephen Curry averages a little bit more steals than LeBron. But here's the interesting part where most people would not consider. LeBron for his career is a 27.2 point per game scorer. Now you would think, well, Stephen Curry is much lower than that. Yeah, he shoots 20. He has what he's averaging 24 points. 24.6 per game, 24.6 points per game. But if you look at the nature of his game and the kind of caliber players he's played with, and to still remain efficient, that's incredible. And to me, if Stephen Curry gets 5 rings, man, I think the biggest argument Steph may have on his side is that he won 5 in LeBron's era. And we're not going to be able to gloss over that. And also, an argument can be made that he's like the unofficial face of the NBA. He's not the most talked about player, but he's the unofficial face. And I think these are real rivals. And to me, I don't see how Stephen Curry gets 5 rings and people are talking about, well, Steph is number 10 and LeBron is number 2 or 3. That's madness. They're not that far apart if you look at their careers. But this is just my view. This is just my opinion. What I want to know from you guys is, where do you think Stephen Curry will rank all time if he wins his 5th ring? And finally, some people will say, but how can he pass LeBron? I think some people out there assume that a lot of people have LeBron number 2. The fact of the matter is, that's a media opinion. This is just sports publications that are doing this. You know, people, writers at different companies like Bleacher Report and all these other guys that write these articles, right? To me, it's quite astonishing that so many people have this exact same list, which is quite strange, to be honest with you. But a lot of people assume this because maybe Chris Broussard, who I like, maybe Shannon Sharp has that opinion, maybe Stephen A. Smith shares that opinion, of course, Nick Wright shares that opinion. They assume that everybody else feels that way when a good amount of people don't feel that way. A lot of people feel like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the GOAT, right? Some people think it's Michael Jordan. I don't think, I have LeBron number 4. Now, some people disagree, but that's their opinion. That's their opinion. It's not, don't think that it's just accepted knowledge that he's number 2. That's what these guys are saying on TV, and it doesn't mean that. And finally, I'll say one quick point. Just a quick aside here. I saw, I saw an episode. As a matter of fact, I covered that on the next show. Catch you on the next one.